What's going on, guys? Welcome back into the channel. In today's video, we're going to be doing my hitting tips on MLB The Show 22, and essentially we're just breaking down how to hit the ball better, especially if you're newer to the game like I am. You're newer to MLB The Show, and I've been playing it for a couple of years, but I'm still improving. I'm just now getting comfortable on all-star difficulty, so we're going to break down some of the tips that can help you advance your hitting metrics, help you advance your hitting stats within the show. The very first thing that we absolutely have to talk about whenever we talk about hitting, and I've talked about this in every video that I've made on this in the past, and everybody else that makes a video on this is going to say the same thing, it is your camera that you're using. The game is going to start you off on a wider camera that is going to be mainly focused on the presentation of the game. It's going to be primarily focused on seeing the entire batter. You don't get a fantastic view of the zone. As you guys can see right here, I'm just going to let some balls go by. The zone takes up a very small amount of the screen. It's really focused on the entire presentation there, getting the stadium in the background, getting the nice view, and all of those things. But what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to switch your cameras to one of the strike zone cameras if you're trying to improve your hitting. The three strike zone cameras are going to zoom in on the strike zone further and further. So strike zone 3 is primarily what I've been playing on. Strike zone 2 zooms in even further, and strike zone is going to be the furthest zoomed in of the three. And this is going to help you read pitches because it's going to make most of the screen the strike zone. So you can now see that pretty much everything that I'm looking at is going to be the strike zone, and that is going to allow me to read pitches easier. It takes a little while to get used to this because there is quite a difference between balls inside the zone, outside the zone. It's a quite big difference as well between this and what the game starts you out on. However, as you can see, we are sacrificing a lot of the presentation. We don't get to see the batting stance, we don't get to see things like that, and that can be adjusted, and that is why I utilize strike zone 3, because it is the best compromise between improving the size of the strike zone, so it is now bigger than the base strike zone that you get, but you still get to see the batting stance. And that's one of the things for somebody that is playing casually, you're going to probably want a balance between presentation as well as trying to improve your skills, and I feel that strike zone 3 is going to be one of the most common ones for people to use that are playing the game casually, that are just trying to get a little bit better at the game, such as myself. If you want to get really good at hitting, most of the pro players are playing on strike zone or strike zone 2, which is the most zoomed in setting. It allows you to read the pitches the best, and it's going to allow you to see the ball best out of the pitcher's hand. The next thing that we absolutely have to talk about is your actual hitting interface, and you guys will see that I'm playing on timing this year. Traditionally, I recommend playing on zone, and a lot of people do also play on directional. We have to understand the difference between these three, and just to break that down very quickly is zone hitting is going to have an actual PCI that you move around and you place it where the ball is located coming into the zone to try to make contact with the ball, and you try to time it on your swing, and those two inputs are going to determine whether you're able to hit the ball or not. Directional hitting is going to be basically timing hitting, where you're just trying to time your swing, but you can indicate a direction that you would like your ball to go. So you can aim right, you can aim left, you can aim high if you want to try to hit balls into the air, you can aim down to try to influence ground balls, and that is what directional is. It's just basically an advanced timing hitting. This year, I am playing personally on timing hitting, and there's a very good reason for that. And I'm going to recommend to a lot of you that if you struggle with hitting, one of your biggest issues is probably the timing aspect of hitting. It is very difficult to get the timing right when you're progressing through the different difficulty levels in this game. And timing hitting is what all I've been playing on this year to allow me to focus on getting my timing right on veteran and all-star. And now I'm up to all-star, and I'm pretty comfortable with timing with my swings which will now allow me to then go back to zone hitting or directional hitting where there's more input, and that's going to allow me to perform better with those superior inputs. Directional and zone hitting are going to yield superior results if you're good at them than timing hitting, because you have more control over where you make contact with the ball and your ability to make contact with the ball, whereas timing is purely based on your timing. You don't have as much control over being able to make contact with certain pitches. What I recommend is, if you are newer to the game or you're trying to improve with your hitting, play on timing for a while. Give it a good test and see where your timing is at, because if your timing is off, then you're not going to have success on any of the hitting interfaces within this game. You should really try out timing, get your timing down before you advance to using two inputs. It's easier to try to focus on one input, which is the timing, improve that one input, and then go to a hitting interface that is going to utilize two inputs, such as directional or zone hitting. The next thing that we need to talk about here, though, is the types of swings that you guys are utilizing and when you're utilizing those types of swings. We need to talk about the difference between power swing, regular swing, and contact swing. And on PlayStation, the X button is going to be your regular swing, circle is contact swing, and square is power swing. With a normal swing, this is the swing that you're going to be utilizing most of the time. You'll get a good combination between your players' power and contact depending on your player's statistics. Nonetheless, you're going to get pretty good plate coverage as well in comparison to the other swing types. Your regular hit is what you're going to focus on most of the time in most of the counts and most of the situation that you guys are in. These things will change from situation to situation, though. Whenever we talk about power swings, you're generally only going to want to utilize a power swing whenever you're ahead in the count and can afford to potentially miss on a pitch coming into the zone. The power swing is going to be more focused on power. It's going to focus on driving the ball further and harder out into the outfield and potentially looking for a home run. This is something you're going to utilize when you're in 3-0 counts or 2-0 counts. 3-1 counts and things like that, where you can afford to take a pitch, because on every single hitting interface your plate coverage will be reduced on a power swing, because that's going to be the trade-off for you. So you don't want to utilize that in critical situations where you're not specifically trying to go for a home run. And that brings me to the topic of the contact swing, which actually, from my experience so far this year, has been by far the most effective swing type within MLB The Show 22. Now, generally, you're going to want to use contact swing in order to get better plate coverage, but you sacrifice the power of your swing. And so you're going to want to use that in situations where you're behind in the count, 0-2, 1-2 counts, maybe a 2-2 count, 3-2 count, things like that. So there are various situations where you're going to want to utilize each of these, and you're going to want to think carefully about which swing type you're using. I've noticed that contact swings have the best tendency to shoot gaps and go over the infield's head, but drop in front of outfielders or drop into those gaps in the outfield as well. And the next topic that we absolutely have to cover is your patience at the plate. This is one of the things that I struggled with the most, and one of the reasons why I also suggest that you move to timing if you are somebody that is struggling with hitting within MLB The Show. The reason is that whenever you're utilizing zone hitting and you're physically moving the PCI around, at least for me and for a lot of people that I know, the tendency is to swing no matter what, because you have that control to place the PCI where the ball is coming in, and that results in a lot of swings against pitches that are outside of the zone. Generally speaking, it is going to be to your advantage to take pitches, especially if they're outside of the zone, and try to get ahead in the count. You have to be more patient and more selective with what pitches you actually swing at. And when you think about it, you're getting one hit out of every 3 at-bats, or one hit out of every 4 at-bats if you're being successful. So you have to have patience at the plate, but you also have to have patience and understanding of the fact that you're not going to come up to the plate and get a hit every single time. And this leans directly into the next topic, which is not allowing the pitcher that you're going up against to get confidence by swinging wildly at any pitch that comes your way. way. You're going to want to affect the pitcher's stamina and confidence by being disciplined at the plate, and that is one of the hardest skills to learn, no matter what hitting interface you guys are going to be on in MLB The Show. Being plate disciplined is extremely difficult, and letting pitches that are outside of the zone go by you can be extremely difficult, especially on higher difficulties where they're just pitching on the edge of the zone. It can be very difficult, but you have to learn that skill if you want to increase your success at the plate. So what I recommend doing is taking that first pitch and seeing what the pitcher has to offer. That's going to allow you to do two things. A lot of the time, it's going to allow you to get ahead in the count. And if it doesn't allow you to get ahead in the count, it's at the very least going to increase the pitch count for the pitcher, which takes away stamina. And above all else, what it's going to do for you is it's going to let you gauge what that pitch speed is coming into the plate. And regardless of how good of a hitter you are on MLB The Show, you should always be paying attention to the feedback that you are getting on the game. It is always going to give you swing feedback, and it's going to let you know whether you are swinging too early, too late, and how early you're swinging at that pitch. Likewise, if you are on zone hitting, you're going to see how far away from the pitch that you actually were whenever you swung and where you placed that PCI. Hopefully all of this information was useful to you guys. Like I said, it is actively working for me right now, so I believe it will work for you to help you improve your batting statistics within the game and your ability to hit the ball well. If it did help you guys out in any way, leave a like on the video, subscribe to the channel if you guys are new around here, and comment down below. I'll see you guys as always in the next video, and I hope you have a good one.